minute.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular Planning Commission meeting, Grand Blanc Township, March 5th, 2026. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We got a full house of Planning Commission members this evening. Ms. Hugo, Mr. Andre, Ms. Coulter, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Gellings, Mr. Joyner, Mr. Hoffman, Ms. Nassar, and Mr. Bush, as well as our Planning and Zoning Director, Mr. Jeremy Smith, and Mr. Andy Amat from our planning consultant. This would be an opportunity for public comment. We'll open up the public comment portion, but I don't see anyone present. So if someone speaks up, we'll close the public comment section, bring it back up to the Planning Commission. Next item is approval of the minutes. We have two sets to approve. First one is January 8th, 2026. Mr. Secretary?
Always makes you feel special when you leave and the job that you were supposed to do is waiting for you when you come back. It's just a special importance, and I thank you for giving me this. So first, we will move. I will move to support or move the approval of the minutes from January 8th, 2026 meeting as presented.
Motion by Mr. Hoffman, support by Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes 9-0. February 5th.
Then the staff was gracious enough to send me a copy and link of last meeting's minutes and reviewed. Had a great time watching all of you. And so I will move for approval of the minutes from February 5th, 2026 as presented.
Motion by Mr. Hoffman to approve the minutes as presented for February 5th, support by Mr. Joyner. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes 9-0. Approval of this evening's agenda. Any changes?
None.
Oh, I don't see anything about chickens.
Hey,
Thank goodness.
just let it go.
Not chicken season yet.
Other business.
It's still cold.
You're right.
Motion by Mr. Bush to approve the agenda as presented, support by Mr. Johnson again. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes 9-0. Correspondence. We do have something to come up later, I guess.
Yes, and yes and no. A few of you have also got the Michigan Association Planning magazine in front of you if you've signed up for that. So just a monthly magazine that we get for all the dealings in the state.
Yeah, I get mine. Yeah, mine came into my house. No old business.
None.
Brings us to new business.
Yep.
Text amendment discussion. Which one is that? Is that the,
Let's start with the memorandum. So I'll start, and then I'll have Andy come in and bring in details if we need to. So we had a applicant submit for plans, and it was a multifamily development, and there was some questions regarding the landscaping setbacks from all the roads and drives and parking areas. As it stands today, we have 20-foot basically ring all the way around each building in order to maintain setbacks from parking, roads, and such. While that is great in some areas, it's a bit egregious in other areas, so what we have in front of you is some considerations for examples that Andy and the Giffords team have used in other municipalities. One thing that we're hoping to accomplish is to leave the front at 20 on roadways, but then modify and reduce side and rear to about 10 feet would be our recommendation in order to be able to still have setbacks, still have green space, still have landscaping, but reduce, so that way they can bring the parking closer to said buildings. So that's kind of the Reader's Digest version. Andy,
Yeah,
if you wanna
yeah,
add to
I
that.
think that's the idea is we've discussed perhaps keeping the 20 foot from from public roads, just because that's a noise, that's a quality of life thing, there could be more utilities in that area.
Is it all public roads or all roads?
Public roads,
What if it's a private road?
I mean, you could make it from private roads too, but then from driveways and parking lots, perhaps reduce it to 10. It's kind of our preliminary idea, and that was kind of that for number one question there under key considerations and examples. You could make it 20 from private roads and public roads, but then driveways, parking lots, maneuvering lanes, et cetera, make it a 10-foot setback. Was kind of our preliminary thought. 10 foot would give you enough to have a 7 foot wide sidewalk, which is common because of ADA requirements. A lot of people add 2 feet to the 5 foot sidewalk to give you an overhang. And so that's 7 foot, and then a 3 foot. It's not a huge foundation planting strip, but it could be something to add to the 10. I don't know if Mr. Andre, you've worked in development. I don't know if there's anything you've seen, but I think this is like a more present day trend, I think, to not require such a big green space from parking lot to building.
Yeah, I think achieving that foundation landscaping is really what it is. And so I've seen it in other communities where they just stipulate 3 feet. Typically, because 3 feet's the minimum you want for planting, right? From 30 to 36-inch shrubs that are typically used in that space. So if you can achieve that same 3 feet, either from, call it 10 feet from the parking or 3 foot from the back of curb, because in some cases you could do a 5-foot walk with an elongated parking as
Yeah.
well. So that would either result in more landscaping buffering at the foundation, or you could just call it 3 feet from the sidewalk. So
Yeah.
in either event, I think 3 feet is very appropriate.
Okay.
That's pretty standard in most
Standard.
communities.
Yep.
Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you. I really like what you're talking about with the idea of if we're going to have that smaller, then the space, the parking space might need to be longer, because you have people that, maybe the back of their vehicle is longer from the wheelbase, and so they back into these, even though they're not supposed to, back into these parking spaces and then cover up the sidewalk. The other concern that I guess I would have is, and I really like the idea that you're saying at least 3 feet, because, these plants have to live in there. They have to get enough water and everything of that, roots and stuff like that. But the other thing would be, especially in our neck of the woods with what people throw down as far as salt and things of this nature, and how close it would be to that type of stuff where it would kill so I guess maybe I shouldn't be concerned about their plants dying, but those things kind of propped up in my head when I was thinking about that, so.
Just to kind of piggyback off that that's why we have site plans. Site plans has a landscaping plan on it. If it dies, there's provisions in the book that says they have 6 months in order to replace it, or we can take them to court and then we can get them into compliance in some way, shape, or form. But most people if it dies, they know that they're going to take care of it. So very rarely do I have issues with landscaping. I do have a couple problem children that we deal with every year, just it seems like, or every other year. But they're well aware of it, and they just can't get it together. But that's what site plans are for. Then they're enforceable by my staff and the code enforcement guys as well. So
Mr. Bush?
Thank you. Just one question, I guess. It seems to me like if we reduce, say, from 20 to 10, front and the back, that's 20 foot per building. So every fourth building, they're gonna get an extra building, so there's gonna be more density on the property. So it seems like this benefits the developer maybe more than it benefits us. That would be on a large scale development, like say a Thornridge, where they have, 50 buildings, where they're gonna get 2, 3, 4 extra buildings because of this.
Not necessarily. In each ordinance section, it would regulate how much their density. So while they may qualify for more, if they've already got too many.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if they're over, they're over.
I think if anything, it could reduce the development footprint, which means you could preserve, like actual green space or forested space or something towards the rear, because you wouldn't need to sprawl so much in a way, because you could build a little closer. And I think, yeah, you are already governed by density, right?
Yep.
Number of units.
Number of units, yep, per acre.
I know at site plan, one of the things that we look at is a 20-foot setback. We focus typically from the property line,
Correct.
front and sides and that kind of thing. Honestly, I wasn't even aware that we had a setback from the building to the,
So this arose because it was a odd-shaped parcel and it was a smaller parcel and they were trying to maximize space while still staying within the zoning ordinance. And if they have to do what they need to do and go for variances and things like that, they may, but this may help them achieve and not have as many or any variances for setbacks and things of that sort, because then their patios in the back may not have to move the building. They can shift them in ways and re-engineer it to where it's not going to be a problem. So we're not trying to retrofit for one site, but it just, again, it popped up and it seems a bit egregious. So while we're looking at things, we might as well take care of it if we can.
The other thing too, I think, is this development is I think it's a mixed housing type. There's townhomes and multifamily units, so this is relevant for even townhome development as well if you're adding a parking lot to
Right.
serve the community.
Absolutely.
personally, I think I'd like to see the 20-foot kept around the perimeter of the property. And within from drives, if we want to reduce it, I'm okay with that. But just,
Right.
I think the perimeter, you still got a built-in buffer. And if you have an unusual situation, somebody can come for a variance.
Absolutely, and that's still on the table. It's just, in order to bring the parking closer, but while still maintaining the green belt, while still being able to have, options for sidewalks and things of that sort, we felt that this was
I think the perimeter one is just not being changed.
no, it's
whatsoever.
not something, we're not touching
Yeah.
the actual building setbacks. This is
Yeah.
gonna be,
No, I'm talking about the parking setback.
there is that too, from the outer perimeter, yes, property lines, yes, that's in place still. We're not modifying that. This is just for bringing parking lots closer to buildings and not having the sprawl.
Internal drive.
Correct.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman? Yeah, so basically what it boils down to would be increasing the building space and reducing the lawn and landscaping.
It could, yeah.
Around the building, but that could also preserve, like Mr. Amat was saying, that you could now have more green space in their backyard as opposed to being, instead of having 20 foot between the parking lot and the building, now you've got 10, but now that other green space could be used for rear yard for all of these buildings as opposed to being up against the building. So it's shuffling. It's just moving things
What
around.
would be the rear yard? I don't know what you mean by that.
Each one's going to be different. It's laid out differently. Each parcel we have to look at differently. So I don't have that plan in front of you today to explain it. It's not ready yet, so that's why it's not in front of you, but it was an odd parcel.
Yeah, it was.
It was
they
a
were working with
backwards
some
L,
challenges. Yeah.
if that makes any sense to you, and they were trying to put lots or buildings on vertically, and then the lot went like
I
this.
mean, it wasn't a very big parking lot by any means.
No, not at all. They didn't have the space for a bigger parking lot. But this would help them not have to move the building or require
We've
variances.
talked about it too in light of other developments too. So it's not like it was like a solely working to give this person a favor.
Yeah, no.
Anyone else?
Did that answer your question, Dolores, or is that still clear as mud?
I think it answered
It's hard without having an example in front of me. I know, it's hard. I wish you'll see the site plan soon enough, but it's hard to describe without having it in front of you.
Mr. Hoffman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, without throwing names out, there's a particular new development down Saginaw, maybe across the street from a McDonald's down Saginaw, south of here, that the parking lot is horrendous. And I know that we've done some work to make maybe our aisles larger or parking spots larger and things of that nature. But I will tell you that if I'm envisioning that in my head right now, I will also say that the buildings seem to be very close. It's not a 6-foot sidewalk either, and it's right up to that. I mean, it is, I don't know if you guys have ever been in there, and when I say guys, every member, it's just hectic. It's just everything's pushed together and very difficult. And so, just as you said, it's hard to envision what this would do. I have fear of that, of everything being condensed. And I know you're not asking for everything being condensed. That's why I said the one thing, if we're going to have shorter distance, maybe the parking lot, maybe the space has to be longer then, if we're going to give up this space. I just, for me, and I'm not calling them out, I'm really not, but that's a very awkward parking lot to deal with.
This township or city?
No.
City.
Where's the McDonald's down Saginaw?
But the city part starts and stops a couple times there.
Have you been, it's tough, man. I don't know if anybody's been in there. It's tough. If you got any kind of a size of a vehicle, forget it. Do not go in that parking lot.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Andre?
Thank you. Just, in that circumstance, that's a commercial use. This is specific to a multi-family?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I want clarification on.
And if we want
It's
to,
relevant for the LDM, MDM, and
Okay.
and if we
Multiple,
need to put,
anything with multiple dwellings,
correct.
Okay.
homes, anything. Yeah.
And
Right.
we could put a provision in there that says that where normally it's a 5-foot sidewalk, make it 7.
Right, and so I appreciate you pointing that out, that this is residential, but when I start hearing about parking lots in residential, it's still, that reminds me more of a commercial situation and application, so that's where I was going with that.
And yeah, the 7 foot is important for ADA for if you have the overhang. So we could, accompanying this, just increase all sidewalks to 7 foot wide, internal.
I think that's a
Maybe inst-
larger discussion. I don't know if we want that
Or
everywhere.
would you just say adjoining
If,
parking?
well, or we give them the option, leave it the way it is and say, or, kind of like what we do in other sections, and say, if you want it reduced, this is what you need to do to reduce it. We've got that in other sections of the ordinance, in residential, with multi-unit. They have, you can reduce, remember the 50% offset with the common wall? In order to get that reduced down to 20%, you had to have better architecture, you had to have better, building materials and things of that sort and different floor plans in order to achieve that. Maybe that's we give them that option that says, hey, if you want to reduce this 20 and you want to bring it closer, you
need to prove that you have 7 foot wide.
you need to provide X, Y, and Z to accommodate that. Otherwise, you have to keep the 20-foot.
Mr. Johnson?
So, I'm trying to understand here. So, right now, there's an apartment complex being built.
Yep,
Parking lot has to be 20 feet from the building.
correct,
And we are talking about making that 10 feet.
correct.
You just talked about a 7-foot wide sidewalk and 3
Well, the
foot.
back of curb would be 10 feet from the building, and you would have a 7-foot sidewalk and a 3-foot green space around it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And that's primarily just because we have this one development that's having issues.
They are, because it's an odd-shaped lot, but we know that this is going to be a problem coming up because I just have a feeling that this isn't going to be the first time that we're going to deal with this. It's going to be coming quite a bit.
As somebody who's lived in a couple different apartment complexes, especially in Grand Blanc, I will say that the ones that I lived in here when I was much younger, it was always nice not having cars starting right under the windows. And that's, you know, we're not talking about a lot of distance here. It's only 20 feet. I mean, my truck's probably 14 foot long.
Sure.
So we're not talking about a huge distance here. I don't necessarily see the benefit to moving, to dropping 10 feet, but I do see a lot of downside to the residents of the building. Or wherever, you know, bedrooms and, you know, whatever's located wherever. That's just kind of my piece on it.
Yeah, I think one of the points too is headlights. Just, I mean, obviously you're gonna see headlights, whether they're
Yeah.
10 foot or 60 feet. But,
Right.
you know, but you could require perhaps plantings as part of maybe the or. If you are getting closer than 20 feet, you need to provide enough planting screening to screen the headlights from the ground floor unit or something along those lines.
So that's a lot in 10 foot.
Mr. Bush?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to point out, under multiple family, medium density and high density, even in low density, we have lot coverage minimums. So say multiply, medium density multiple, you're looking at a 50% impervious surface, that's with building and paving. So even if we reduce the green space to 10, they still have to achieve that 50% impervious surface, so they're gonna have to have that green somewhere on the lot. So that really doesn't change anything. So now we're, correct me if I'm wrong, we're just talking aesthetics at this point. Like Jeremy said, moving it from here to there, but we still have to have that 50% impervious.
So are you suggesting, Mr. Smith, that we keep it at 20, but with an option to reduce it if you do a couple of these other things?
I think that
yeah.
sounds like it's the
What
way
you want to
we're-
do, you can reduce it with one, a 7 foot wide sidewalk, and then two, some landscape screening to screen the headlights. I mean, how about that?
Absolutely.
Anything else? So I think those are two good first steps of,
Go ahead.
I hate to say this, but the headlight deal with,
How are you gonna do that?
well,
with
but
3 feet?
But if I could, you're not supposed to put bushes in front of a window because then burglars get inside. Well, burglars, you know, if somebody wants to break in, you know, they got this hedge that they can do stuff behind there.
I don't think too many people are putting.
well, I think it would probably be
Units
3 to 4 foot high. So it wouldn't be,
I'm just,
Just saying.
I have landscape in front of my windows. Maybe we should cut them.
talk to your police because I'll tell you what, if you talk to the police, they'll tell you not to do that.
They're like 3 to 4 foot high though.
Are they covering the window?
Oh, not covering the windows.
That's the key.
Yeah.
If you're into some of these things where you're covering the window so the lights can't get into the window, you're covering the window then. So that's all I'm saying. I don't know if we want to be on record to say, please put a barrier up here so people can do something nefarious behind it.
I like that wording.
I mean, otherwise perhaps it's the unit's got to be elevated so that it's not right at ground level, so that perhaps it's, if you gain 3 feet of elevation from grade, the headlights aren't going straight into the window, they're going down into the bottom, more the bottom of your wall.
Too, right? So
Yeah,
it
there
might
could
be
be
actually touching the
walkouts.
ground if
Yeah.
it's a walkout.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see too many new developments putting,
Walkouts.
Walkouts
I
are
think, do the new ones
sub-
on Grand Blank Road put walkouts? No.
they have walkouts in the back, not.
Yeah,
in
but that
front.
could, that could just be a
That's-
design
that's their-
decision.
That's their
Yeah.
basement.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not an actual
Gotcha. I haven't been there. I don't know. I just
unit.
thought I saw when I was driving.
Yeah.
but, yeah.
So, our consultant is gonna come back with some wording? Is that the?
Yeah, it sounds like you're in order to get the reduction, it sounds like you want a few things done, such as maybe, I don't know, just
consideration.
yeah, to minimize the intrusiveness of a vehicle being that close, to Mr. Johnson's point, and also making sure the sidewalk is wide enough so that vehicles are not overhanging too far.
We're still keep the perimeters.
Yep,
the
everything else,
perimeters the
everything else
same.
is gonna stay the same.
Okay. You'll come back with some wording for us to review?
Yep.
Yep,
All right.
that sounds good.
You want to go to the data center information now?
Yep. We created a little slideshow here. I just want to, I want to just preface this with the fact, and I'll bring it up a few times in these slides. We're going to go through pretty quickly. This is your first look at this. You have a few, to my understanding, you have a few more meetings we can spend on planning for this. But there's a few slides that are just, I just want to preface that are really out of a local government's realm. There's a few things like the energy usage, the public utility systems, and what they can do to serve the data center. There's a lot going on that's just outside of the local government's planning and zoning structure. So we do have a few slides here that kind of cover energy and water usage and whatnot. That's just kind of to give you context of what these things are and why these things are so, I guess, so heavily discussed throughout our state right now. But there's really, I just don't want us to get distracted by the points of like, these are taking up so much energy, they're taking up so much water, that's why I don't want them here or whatever. That's not really your decision. So I just want to set the stage there. I also just want to say that a lot of it's AI related. But some of this is just the cloud computing. So you have an iPhone and you save your stuff to the cloud, or you have another data storage account, OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever, you're saving stuff to a cloud, and this is that technology, this is that computing that deals with saving that stuff. So jumping to the fourth slide. So that was kind of slides 2 and 3, sorry. Jumping to the fourth slide, there are data center types. A lot of the ones of the edge and enterprise size are a little bit less intrusive. I think a lot of the ones causing a lot of discussion around the state are the hyperscale data centers. These are the ones with just massive energy uses and huge square footage. There's a lot of these in Loudoun County, Virginia. That's kind of the data center hotspot of the country. There's a ton of them in New Albany, Ohio as well. So if you want to do a little bit of research on your own to see what these things look like and feel like, New Albany, Ohio is outside of Columbus. You can see on aerials that there's just these huge buildings being built in the northeast part of that region. Those are all data centers. So they are very hot right now in terms of real estate development. That's kind of pertinent to number 6. There is kind of a sweet spot due to the electrical transmission lines that run through the southern Midwest. So actually it looks like in Michigan, the high electrical transmission lines have a little bit less kilovolt power serving us here than they do down there. So that's why Ohio is a really hot spot for a lot of data centers right now. It's just, there's a lot more connection to the high electricity transmission lines there. There are some slightly lower transmission lines than Ohio in Michigan, but there's a few corridors where data centers are extremely hot in Michigan. Grand Blanc Township has kind of a more medium electrical transmission lines in terms of scale. So it's possible that some could come to Grand Blanc Township, but I think data centers are looking for some other locations in Michigan first that are near the highest powered electrical transmission lines. I'm going to skip to, so slides 8, 9, and 10 deal with a lot of the energy and water usage. Again, I'm kind of setting the stage here for why some of these are huge discussions throughout the state. But there's just a lot there that you don't have any power to control as a local zoning body.
I guess.
Yep.
I don't like hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
So if we need to be creative, maybe we need to be creative. That's all.
Yeah, there's, there's a lot that I know that DTE is, I think are you under consumers? Yes. Yeah. I know there's just huge discussions with DTE and consumers at the state's Public Utility Commission level in terms of, who's responsible to make these upgrades, who's paying for it, how do the customers not get on the hook for outages and for raised energy prices. So there's a lot that's just being figured out on that end. I think jumping to slides 11 to 15 is a lot more your direct realm in terms of creating regulations.
Sorry, before you jump, so let's say consumers, I don't know if you know this or not, so.
You probably don't,
Like,
so I'm just
right,
gonna-
right, well, but that's why I'm saying maybe you can be looking for it. If consumers says, we're gonna allow a data center in there, because I'm not in control of that, but we're gonna put it into, a township other than us, but we're still being served by consumers. Does only that area get price increases, or does the
Yeah.
consumers, everybody? Because although we're not in control of it, we may want to sit there and say, well, why do they get the benefit of the data center when our prices are going to be going up too? So I mean, if you could just see how that's working,
Yeah.
I would like to know that. And I'm going to wait for my next question, because hopefully you're going to get to, what do they bring to us? I mean, other things we know brings jobs, they brings this, or tax revenues. So I'm going to wait for that question. I'll let you continue, but know that that's going to be coming up if it's not.
Yeah, very good questions, and I think that's kind of, that is at the base of why some of these are very heavily discussed, is who's on the hook for energy price spikes, energy outages, all of that.
Well, you can see where I'm going. If we're going to be subject to a price hike, then I want it here, type of thing. I mean, I don't
get
know
that,
if that's
yeah.
the only reason, but I mean,
Yeah,
if that's the only danger, if the danger is also it's going to pollute my water, then somebody else can have it all. But I'm just saying that I would like to know if somebody else does it in the consumers area, am I going to be on the hook for the same, our community going to be on the hook for the higher costs?
those are very good considerations, yep. So number 11 for site design, so there are a lot of zoning ordinance regulations you can put in that you might put in on other kind of really high-intensity land uses like heavily polluting factory. I mean, ideally, a factory wouldn't be too polluting, but a factory, something that's making noise, that's perhaps producing emissions, that's perhaps has tall buildings and smokestacks and electrical equipment and appliances. You can create site design regulations for data centers the same way you would another similar heavy industrial use. So I think that'll be at the heart of this process. We'll be figuring out what kind of building heights do we want to allow for data centers? What kind of fencing and camera or surveillance systems do we want these to incorporate into their business? What kind of lighting so that it's not spilling over to the neighbors? Right sizing parking due to the fact that there's not many employees that are staffing these places. Phasing plans, there's a lot of these have ongoing construction all the time, especially the campus-sized ones. You're probably not going to get a campus-sized hyperscale data center, but if you were to get a couple facilities, they're often undergoing construction in some way, shape, or form. They might be renovating a building that's already been built to retrofit new equipment, and there's just always noise involved because of construction. There's also always noise because of the generators and the equipment used. So those are huge considerations as well. Yep.
Question for you on slide 12. current township regulations. This isn't Grand Blanc Township, is it?
This is, yeah, so you do permit, so this is one of the reasons why this is so key that we undergo a zoning ordinance process
What
here.
is FD1, FD2?
Flexible development,
Okay, and TVP?
TVP,
Tech Village.
Tech Village Park.
All right, I guess I wasn't into acronyms.
So there's, right now, you probably have what we would call an archaic zoning definition for old school computer services and data processing centers that were more for just computer servers for older computers. That's the closest term you have for a data center. So it could be without regulations, without further regulations, it could be conceivable that a modern day data center is interpreted as one of these. So we will want to amend the definition and also consider the districts these should go in. I don't think the 2026 data center is super fitting of the OS, PO, NC, or GC district. It
Not big
just,
enough anyway.
those are
No,
more commercial and office districts.
my recommendation is gonna be industrial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do that immediately?
We've got a year to research this, but we know that 90% of what's there, maybe Flex 2, potentially, which has a little bit of commercial and light industrial built into it. Maybe you can say, if we build this in a tier system, if we do decide that we want to allow these things, and I don't think we can exclude them solely, but
No, you can't.
but if we have a, use tier, and then we can have a use tier within each zoning district, then potentially this won't be as,
Well, it doesn't have to be allowed in all zoning districts.
no,
not at all.
No, you can be restrictive, you just can't remove. Right.
And I don't know, for, some of us discussed this at our site plan review meeting. I guess there was some legislature introduced to halt data centers throughout all of Michigan until 2027.
Interesting.
Doesn't mean anything's happened to it yet.
Yeah.
but I think you actually looked up the legislation. And
I sent it to you, Joe.
That goes to show how concerning I think
Yeah.
the entire people across the entire state are.
I'll forward it to you.
Okay,
later, so
thank
yeah.
you.
Yep.
But yeah,
The only ones considering, but that doesn't mean it's going to go away forever.
No,
this should be a pretty comprehensive zoning ordinance amendment. We should discuss the districts it's permitted in. We should discuss definitions. We should discuss site standards and any other performance standards like sound, noise, things like that. So it's going to take, we're probably going to be touching on at least 4 different areas of the zoning ordinance for this
What would be
amendment.
the minimum, well, I guess that could change 5 years from now though, too.
Right.
Minimum footprint.
I could change 6 months from now.
There's many different sizes.
Yeah, but most of them are known for being pretty large.
There's 70 already within the state. Most people don't even know it. They drive by them all the time. Don't even
Yeah.
realize it.
But we don't, in professional office, it's not a very big plot of land. in-
No, there's not. a lot of
Typically
land.
not, no.
And it's pretty close to residential,
Right,
which is a big concern.
We look more at industrial.
High commercial, industrial is where I feel these are better served.
Mr. Hoffman?
Thank you. So if we settled on, okay, this can go into industrial with all those other parameters that you say that we need to list off, what happens when there's no more industrial left?
Right.
Is that okay?
We have a good tax base.
Whether you have to buy something.
Right?
I think you could get an application for a rezoning if there's a company that's very interested in
I
expanding.
mean, is that restricting
It's
it?
like a trailer park.
Is that restricting it to the point where
No.
we would say, hey, sure, we'll open, because we have to allow it, right?
have to-
You got to allow it somewhere, and so we say, okay, we're going to allow it in industrial. We just don't have any industrial at
It would
this
just be-
time.
That's just
That's
the way-
okay
That's the way
legally.
it
That's
is.
just the way.
That's all I want to know.
They would need to buy someone out and develop.
Try
Very good.
Try and rezone
I'm not
it.
saying I want that to happen, I'm just
No,
wondering
yeah.
if that would. All right.
It's got to be reasonable too. You can't just zone one piece of land industrial and then say, hey,
Right.
we're accommodating. But you have a few
So
dozen industrial.
just because we don't have any open acreage
Yeah,
doesn't mean we're saying you can't come here.
I think you're correct.
In the article that I left with everybody on the second page, there is an incident where in Elk Grove Village in Illinois, there was a data center hub near Chicago to build 3 data centers totaling 2.1 million square feet. And what they did was they knocked down an entire 55-home subdivision, and the company paid nearly $1 million per house for that. So, yeah, I mean, money talks big in this. There was a developer, and you mentioned the I-95 corridor through Virginia, Loudoun County, and that sort of stuff. There was a developer who had property, paid $50 million for it. He's going to put houses in there. But he came up with an offer from Amazon to build a data center there and agreed to pay $700 million for that. Now, you know, when you look at that differential, I mean, it speaks loud, really loud.
And to Mr. Chairman, just kind of counteract that, that's what you folks do on a monthly basis here is you are the regulators, you are the gatekeepers, and so is the township board. So in that instance where they knock down a subdivision, that doesn't mean that we're gonna allow that here. That, some could get into spot zoning, and we don't want that to happen either. So I think being cognizant of where we put these things and what could potentially be around it, and the sprawl of potential rezoning is something we really need to take a look at heavily as well.
I don't know if any of you have been down Linden Road and Hill Road intersection. That's the area that the state, you know, has been clearing out land. They've just started working along Linden Road, taking out the homes. I mean, it's all flat back there, you know. So, you know, it's not just developers and companies. There's also the state that's been involved in these kinds of things as well.
Ms. Nassar?
So, do we have any control over what cooling mechanisms they use because of the water?
I mean, that's a good question.
I was just
Like how the
looking that up.
internal system runs. I mean, that's
The county might, depending on.
yeah, the county might. Yeah,
To a certain degree here locally, the county may be more involved in that because that's more water and sewer and they control, we control the
They
sewer.
use a ton of it.
yeah.
Right, right.
yeah.
Like,
So-
I was just looking
Discharge
it
as
up and
well.
it's-
Yeah.
Well, right, but that comes back to the closed loop system and, you know, having their own water supply or maybe their own water tower or,
5
or not
million
water at
gallons a
all, or, and that's, if it's too taxing on the system, then maybe that's another thing that gets
Yeah.
built in, is the utilities surrounding it, whether you have the right zoning or not, if the utilities can't support it, you
Yeah.
can't go there. you
Yeah,
know?
and the process would require a sign off and confirmation from the public utility first
Yeah,
prior to.
Right, we'd want to have a pre-conference with the
Further-
county and the state.
Yeah, we could look into that.
And the chance for leakage once they close the system, that seems like it's an issue too.
Yeah, the discharging of the closed
Right.
system.
Yeah, my understanding is they do a lot of geothermal with that, so they'll take the water, they pump it down into the ground to cool it off, bring it back up.
Or up the
and run it.
towers and
Yeah.
evaporate it.
A lot of them don't use the towers because they're so expensive.
So I would have issues with the geothermal stuff for sure.
It's gonna seep into the
Well, if they, I mean,
hood.
It could, but, I mean, we've got, think about, you have gas tanks that are in the ground that don't leak anymore. Not that they don't, but the technology from 1970s to today, gas tanks that are buried, there's so many valves and, you know, catches that,
Water's not gas.
no, but it could have things that are in it, like glycol, that could ruin.
From
Yeah, they do,
cooling.
they do
From the
put a
cooling
mix.
water, yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
get a broken pipe or something and next thing you know, the water table's been contaminated. It
Sure.
just doesn't get caught.
Right.
I guess my question is to that point, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, but my question to that point is, is that something that we're capable of regulating?
To a point,
That's
yes.
a good question, and I think probably to a point.
To a point, but I think the county and the state would have more control than we would, because we don't control the water system, the county does.
So would it be the the county planning commission that would?
Be county, just. Drain commission. Wastewater and surface water, yeah. Eagle, yeah.
All right, so you looking for anything else from us?
I mean, I think I covered a lot of it. I think the next slide, the last three slides, one was noise. That's something that we should definitely think about during this process. The 14th slide was parking, building height, building design. I kind of covered that really briefly. And then the last two slides, 15 was just, we're gonna have to discuss the appropriate district. And then the final slide is just the process, which is the same process we follow for any zoning amendment here.
Some of the typical height on these is 60 to 80 feet.
60 to 80 feet is common.
What's our maximum allowable building height in industrial?
60 in industrial.
Another good reason not to put in some of these other zoning districts. Yeah.
So it's not that again, that's something to look at, that maybe, do we allow just them to go higher, or do we just cap them at 60? And then you can be restrictive, you can't restrict.
We got the history of the 60. In fact, we just increased.
We increased it from 50 to 60, right, just recently. So if they can't adhere to 60 feet, then they can't come, or they have to ask for a variance. And they're not guaranteed that either way.
Ready to move on to committee report?
Good, thank you for the quick discussion. We'll be doing this more in the next coming months. Yeah.
Nothing from Township Board? Zoning Board of Appeals?
We haven't had any, we've canceled the last few. We'll probably have one in April or May with the same fence issue. The applicant hasn't applied yet, but other than that, it's been quiet.
We had a site plan review meeting today, which is a final approval on something we had seen. And you surprised me by saying it was last April?
April of '25.
It's Gemstone Preserve.
Gemstone Preserves is what they're calling this phase.
Next phase of.
Final phase,
How many homes was it?
65. There were 65 originally, and there's 65 still. They just reconfigured it. There's more wetlands than they thought there was originally, so they've actually made it simpler. It's a big loop with just one little cul-de-sac to the north where there was 3 or 4, and it was more sprawled, but we have more open space
Well,
now.
this subdivision is got pretty good buffer of wetlands and open space around the perimeter.
Absolutely.
And they're providing sidewalks on both sides of the street. So,
Light poles to the complex.
and one of our early concerns was about road access through an existing private road. They've shown what,
We had legal documentation from their attorneys. We've reviewed it. Our township attorneys have reviewed it. It was a built-in to begin with. It was, they didn't have to change anything. These sites were already split off. They just wanted to modify it because they knew there was so much wet that they weren't gonna be able to build half of them. And so that's why they had to change. So the easements, the access, everything was already done when it was originally constructed.
so this is off of Baldwin Road.
Gemstone, it's Perry and.
Green Hill and Perry.
Yeah,
Okay. Basically, it's kind of through oh yeah, that's right, it's farther south, never mind. I was thinking of another one you saw.
yep.
That's basically the last phase, yeah.
Yep, final phase, yep.
Anything else? Any other business?
Not that I have.
Guess we'll take a motion to adjourn. if everybody's ready. Motion by Ms. Nassar to adjourn at, what is that, 7:50? Support by
said so we'd be out of here by.
I'll support it. Sarah had it.
48.
Ms. Hugo provided the support for that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are adjourned.